This tiny 5-cent coin could be worth more than your entire retirement, and the most shocking part is that thousands of Americans have unknowingly spent it on coffee, gas, and vending machines. Right now there is a version of this coin still hiding in old drawers, pocket change, inherited collections, and forgotten bankrolls, and in the right condition it has reached values that collectors describe as life-changing. Worth real but $3.4 million about condition. That number sounds impossible for a nickel, and yet this story begins in 1939, the very first year America met the Jefferson nickel, a coin that most people never look at twice. Imagine a young cashier in the late 1950s dropping one into the register without a second thought, a grandfather tossing a handful into a jar after a long workday, a child in the 1970s buying candy with one that today could pay for a house. Because the truth is, the most valuable examples were never pulled aside. They were spent, lost, forgotten. And today they are being rediscovered in the most ordinary places. The first clue is the date. 1939, the metal has a different sound when it hits a table, a deeper, older tone. The surface, when it's never been touched by circulation, glows with a soft silver nickel luster that rolls like light across water. When you tilt it, Jefferson's cheekbone flashes, the jawline sharp, every strand of hair frozen in time from the moment it left the mint. But the real secret isn't just the year. It's the tiny letter that most people never notice. Somewhere to the right of Monticello, so small you need to angle the coin into the light, is the mint mark. And that single letter is where the story splits into two completely different worlds. Because while millions of ordinary 1939 nickels were made, a few rare varieties turned this coin into one of the most dramatic first-year issues in American coin history. Collectors still talk about the moment they first saw one under magnification, the letters in Monticello looking thick and doubled, as if the coin had shifted in time for a fraction of a second. The steps of Monticello sharp and complete, each line visible like the stairs of a real building. Most coins show worn, flat steps. But the rare ones? They look like they were carved yesterday. And that detail alone has sent prices into the stratosphere. There's a story told at coin shows about a man who bought a small envelope of old nickels at a garage sale for less than $20. He almost didn't go through them. Almost threw them into a change machine. But one coin had a strange glow. It was a 1939 Denver Mint. Full steps. That coin didn't just increase in value. It exploded. Because collectors had been searching for one with that level of preservation for decades. But even that isn't the variety that created the biggest shockwaves. There's another version of this coin that specialists recognize instantly, not by the shine, but by the doubling in the lettering. A doubling so bold that when you see it for the first time, you can't unsee it. The date looks thicker. The word liberty vibrates with a shadow. In God We Trust appears almost stamped twice. This is the legendary double die, a minting mistake that turned a common nickel into one of the most hunted treasures in the series. And here's the part that keeps collectors awake at night. Many of these were released into circulation before anyone noticed. They were used, spent, passed from hand to hand across America. Which means one could still be out there. Right now. In a roll from the bank. In a coin jar. In a box of old belongings that hasn't been opened in years. Auction rooms have gone silent when pristine examples appear. You can feel the tension in the air, the soft flipping of catalog pages, the pause before the first bid. Then the numbers start climbing. Faster. Higher. Each bid a heartbeat. Each jump rewriting what people thought a nickel could be worth. And when the hammer falls, the room exhales, because another record has just been set for a coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up off the sidewalk. But condition is everything. A worn example tells a different story. Its surface smooth, Monticello's steps faded into shadow, Jefferson's portrait softened by decades of use. Still historic. Still collectible. But not the coin that changes a life. The life-changing ones look almost unreal. No fingerprints. No dullness. Only blazing mint luster and razor-sharp detail. They look exactly like the day they were born in 1939. And when one of those appears, the entire market notices. Prices don't just rise, They leap. Because there are so few. And the demand never stops. Some were found in old bank-wrapped rolls that sat untouched for generations. Others came from collections where the owner had no idea what they were holding. One was discovered while someone was simply filling a coin album, trying to complete a date set. That moment, when the collector realizes what they're looking at is impossible to fake. Hands start shaking. The coin goes under magnification again and again. Every detail checked. Every possibility racing through the mind. Because if the steps are full, if the doubling is real, if the surfaces are untouched, that small 5-cent piece becomes something else entirely. A time capsule. A survivor. A financial shock. And here's the twist that makes this story so powerful. These coins were never meant to be rare. They were made for everyday transactions. For bus fares. For newspapers. For lunch counters. They lived normal lives. Which means some of the greatest treasures in American numismatics are still mixed in with ordinary change. Still overlooked. Still waiting. So tonight, somewhere in America, someone will open a drawer and hear the sound of old coins sliding together. Someone will roll a stack of nickels from the bank. Someone will inherit a small box and almost ignore it. And inside could be the coin that collectors have spent a lifetime searching for. A 1939 Jefferson nickel that turns 5 cents into a story worth thousands, tens of thousands, and in the most extraordinary, perfectly preserved cases, the kind of value that reshapes what we believe pocket change can be. Because history doesn't always come in gold. Sometimes it comes in nickel. Small. Ordinary. Silent. And still out there. Waiting for the person who knows what to look for. So before you spend another 5-cent coin, before you walk past that jar of change, take a second look at the date. Tilt it into the light. Search for that tiny mint mark. Look at the steps of Monticello. Because the next great discovery isn't locked in a museum. It isn't buried in the ground. It's moving through America right now. And it might already be in your pocket.